Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the VHS podcast, our second ever VR chat episode, unless we did another one that ended up coming out before this. We are here on Mars, and we are discussing Total Recall, the original.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is actually the first one I've been in because I was only used as like set dressing in the cheese one.
Yeah. You didn't manage to actually get connected, but I still thought it was funny. I'm just being, if anyone could have even joined the world, I just looked like I was psychotic talking to a stick figure. But yeah, it's still fun. But yes, this is 100% real Venom this time.
Mm-hmm.
So
none of that fake shit. 100% real.
Yeah.
No GMOs or nothing.
This is craft Venom. Last time we had Velveeta Venom.
Despicable.
I'm desperately trying to keep my hands still because this, like a lot of models do, they have different toggles. Not toggles, expressions. And you keep your hands like this, it just relaxes the face. But if I happen to lift up two fingers, I start doing this fucking thing.
Oh God.
Yeah. I would keep it smiling, but I'd have to do this, which then closes the eyes. I haven't played. And there's ways to do it. I'm not quite used to it yet, but yeah.
In due time.
Yeah.
Still mastering the sluttiness that is your avatars. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's an art form. Anyways, yes.
So, what did you think about the eye-popping intro of the movie?
Oh yeah, that was. I actually knew about that before watching the movie because it was on Watch Mojo's top 10 something. I saw.
Yeah, it's like a big joke because it's scary to watch, but it's also kind of just goofy because I don't think that would really happen. I think you'd just suffocate if you could even survive for that long out there. I don't know.
Well, the likelihood would be he wouldn't even survive that long to experience all that excruciating pain, but probably there would be some pain. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not a scientist. I've never been to Mars. I am a Martian, though, but I crashed down to Earth.
Yeah, but we're on Mars, so welcome home.
Yes, I feel at home.
Pretty interesting we can breathe here, though.
Mm-hmm. Which is actually an interesting thing, because that's part of the movie. So, Total Recall, do you want to do the plot, or do I want to do the plot?
You can go ahead. There I go, making the face again. You can go ahead. You can bounce around, obviously, as we usually do.
Okay, cool. So, Total Recall begins. We had that eye-popping intro with him in a dream with a unknown woman. They're going through the vast sand hills of Mars, and our protagonist trips, falls. He hits his head on some rocks. His helmet breaks open, and he gasps for air, and his eyes pop out of his face, and his face is twisted in this disgusting visage, I guess is the best way to say it. And then he wakes up. He's with someone else that is not the person from the dream. Instead is this blonde woman. And they here, you're the female expert. I'll lend it to you.
Oh yeah, such a disappointment to wake up from a dream with a brunette and you're married to a blonde instead. My world would be shattered. But yes. So early on, you get you're introduced to the woman in question is Lori, who is Doug's wife. I'm trying to do quotations, but it's
quote
just
quote
horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I shouldn't have used this model. It's a little. Yeah, hopefully it gets us the views. Anyway, she this is, I'm gonna spoil something that happens later. Is he turns out he's like a secret agent. He's had his mind wiped and whatever, and you get some of the seeds pointing towards like maybe this is real. This is a big question, but we'll get to later on. Is this actually a dream, or is this stuff real? But there's some things that point to it being the case, and some things that point to it not being the case. But I'll get to those. One thing that points to it maybe being the case that's interesting is Lori. When Doug is like, "Oh, I want to go to Mars," and she's just like, "What? It's just a barren wasteland. It's a shithole. You fucking hate it." And like, there's terrorists doing crazy shit all the time, and stuff could explode. Like, she's just kind of like putting it in his head, like, it's don't go there. It's horrible. And something that you can notice is like he finally just like whatever, goes off to work. She says goodbye. She shuts the door, and the second you know that like he's turned around, she just kind of like relaxes her face and just looks more like pissed off and like, oh, finally he's gone. Which you could say she's just a little annoyed with him, or it's just part of her cover because she's just playing the role of the wife to trick him.
Mm-hmm.
But this gets backed up when he's at work working with someone called Harry. He's talking about, hey, there's this recall thing. You can go get your mind. Like, you can get some memories and whatever. And he's like, oh, no, don't do that. That's bad. Some guy almost got lobotomized. And as soon as he just kind of puts it off and goes back to work, he does the same thing. He just kind of like relaxes his face and like the mask just drops. So those are little clues that point to it like the whole time it's real, because like they're only there to just get him under control until, his mind is fully wiped or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But he does end up going to Recall anyways, and he purchases an adventure memory. And the flip side, I notice, is the prep process at Recall makes you question some things. Like, he gets a special package to get, like, oh, there's going to be alien artifacts and references in the memories, and there's supposed to be a female character. He's supposed to... You okay?
Yeah, sorry. I was itching my leg and then I fucked up my mouse.
You spinning in circles. I'm gonna take a moment because of that. Well, not because of that. I just want to move the camera a little bit over here. All right.
There we go.
Better. Yeah, that's a bit better. Anyways, so like all of those details, and then it's like they're saying like, oh, we could, you'll be the hero and you get the girl, and they let him like design the girl, and they go through some options, and on the computer you literally see, what's her name? I gotta scroll through them now. Oh, Melina, which is a character you come to later, and it's like, how does the computer generate an exact image of this real life memory that's supposed to, like, if you consider it like this is all happening in the real world? That's something that points to it like maybe not being legit. But yeah. So the setup ends up going wrong, and they're like, oh, we hit a memory cap. He's freaking out. He's babbling about stuff, and the I guess the supervisor or whatever is like, oh, you idiots, like, he's just getting the memory. Like, we didn't implant the memory yet. So they just kind of knock him out, put him in a cab, and I'll let you continue from here a bit because I don't want to be the one talking through the whole episode.
Oh no, I do want to stop and talk about Recall because, one, it's kind of like what the thing is called, the title, but honestly, the concept of it is kind of interesting, and that's what I've been liking throughout the movie. I was liking the little like sci-fi aspects that they're putting in, like the TV that when you turned off could go and look into the background, and it's like the trees and shit, or that was like a TV that projected that. I don't know, but
Yeah.
and then it's like Recall itself is really interesting because it's like injecting memories of things that you've never had into your mind, and it's just like it made me think. I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if like they injected like advertisements throughout the memories.
Yeah, that does make sense because you also, I mean, it's just part of the movie, but you also see like all these ads, like which you see in any movie, all over the place. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It's like, part of their sponsors is like, oh yeah, you gotta put a Coke can here and a sign for this here, and if that's what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's that's a concept that I do wish was a little more explored in the movie, but that wasn't the full plot of the movie. That was just merely like getting us to the plot we were trying to get to. But still cool concept that they just threw in there. Kind of liked it.
Yeah. Fuck, I'm getting tangled here with my cable.
But well, fuck. Well, he I forget. He goes home, doesn't he?
Yeah, he gets in the cab, and he's initially questioned because like they wiped out some of his memories of him like waking up as the secret agent, and they send him
Yeah.
along in the cab, and like eventually he gets out. He runs into Harry from his work,
Right.
and he's like,
"Hey, want to get a drink?"
Yeah, he attacks him with some guys, and of course Arnold
murders them.
Doug, I mean, just fights them all off. I love how he just whacks this guy in the face, and then he's just like bleeding like he's in a WWE wrestling match.
Yeah, so he fucking just slaughters those guys.
Yeah.
With little to no hesitation. He runs back home. He's like, "Hey, wife, I murdered some people." And she's like, "No, I don't believe you, honey." He's like, "Look at my hands." And they're covered in blood.
Yeah. At which point, like, he goes to wash his hands. She gets a call from one of the bad guys, and he, off screen, tells her, just take him out. And she tries to, but unsuccessful.
Fails.
And then Dice coming on to him, like, just to stall him enough. But eventually
he catches on.
Yeah, he catches on.
Punches her in the face.
Yeah. Fucking damn. That's gotta hurt for anybody, but damn, being a little lady like her and getting backed by Arnold. Damn. Ouch.
Oh yeah. Might as well have got stepped on by a horse or something.
Yeah, so my favorite thing is after the chase starts and you get to the X-ray section. So he runs in and like it spots the gun, and the guards come to the other side, but it's like they act like they can't see him for some reason, even though it's like a perfectly well lit tunnel. It's just for like a stupid joke. Oh, my nose is so itchy all of a sudden.
There was a surprising amount of jokes in this movie. I was expecting it to be very serious, but there was a lot of tongue-in-cheek shit going on throughout it.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the theme with like a lot of these older movies.
True, very true. There was just a lot of stuff, like the way that Quaid's former self would talk to him was just so 80s and cheesy. It was great.
Yeah. A lot of these 80s, especially the old 80s like Arnold movies, like there's always so much cheesy humor. One, I don't know if you ever saw Commando with Arnold. That movie is just cheesy one-liner after cheesy one-liner and just cheesy action. Oh, it's fantastic. It's such a stupid movie, but it's so good.
Well, that should be on the list then, because that sounds nice.
Yeah, we'll just watch all the cheesy Arnold. We'll watch all of Arnold's movies. Because we did have another one we wanted to watch. when we did me and Moffaz did the DuckTales episode, there was an episode, and I talked about it then, called Hercules in Duckburg, which the title is just a reference to Hercules in New York, which is a movie with Arnold. And I've never seen it, so I want to see it because like it just sounds like it's a good time.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I will say something about Arnold is when he's in pain, I can't take him seriously. He's like,
yes.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
it's really funny.
Yeah. All right. So next, I missed a little bit of this because I had to run and do something, but he got a like a video call from somebody. That's one of the like future tech things they show that kind of is legit now, except like you hold a phone and do it. It's not like a payphone on the street, which payphones just don't exist, like barely.
Yeah.
I know the location of one payphone in my entire town, and it's at a gas station. And I was surprised. Honestly, I'd be surprised if it even still works. It's probably unhooked or something.
In my old town, we had like 2 telephone. One of them had a fucking hornet's nest in it, and no one ever fixed it. There's just a hornet's nest in one of the telephone things.
Oh, yeah. Nice. That's great.
It was a big ass one too, so it was really fucking weird that no one took care of it because it was on the sidewalk.
Eesh. That's keep hornets the fuck away from me.
Oh yeah, they're the worst.
So yes, he got a message from somebody and was like, "Hey, I'm dropping this suitcase off. Come grab it. You'll need it." And he takes it. It's a whole nother chase. He takes a cab, and my favorite part is when he gets to like where he's gonna like inspect the contents. He gets out of the cab, and then it just glitches out and starts driving forward and crashes into something at like 15 miles per hour and then violently explodes for no reason. It's like, damn, what happens if people get into an accident in the future? It's just going to be like a nuclear explosion.
Honestly. It's, yeah, well, first he was escaping because they ambushed him again, and he got into that cab, and the cab wasn't listening to what he was saying because it was like he wasn't saying specific addresses or anything, so he just he rips it off of its stand, throws it to the side, and starts driving himself.
Yeah.
And he's just like, gunning.
It's just a little like a joystick that the droid is basically sitting on, and he just fucking manages to drive it somehow. It's like, I get it. Like, you can go forward, but like, how do you handle complex turning with that thing? It's just a joystick, and somehow it uses it to spin like in a circle. And one thing that was funny when they're shooting him, they shoot out the windows, and then there's a shot like he stops spinning, and then he just takes off, and like you see the glass shatter out, and it's like in a perfect curve around the vehicle. So it's like, I think honestly they just like someone just had like a bucket of like glass and they just tossed it in a curve to just simulate the stuff getting shot out. It's the best they could do sometimes. But yeah, so he opens the case. There's a bunch of stuff in it, fake IDs, whatever. He gets a message from someone called Hauser, which is him. It's his original body's inhabitant, I guess you could say. And he's like, all right, you see this weird thing you got in the case? You got to take it and you got to shove it up your nose and then rip out the tracker. Which, this is something even though later on, the bad guy like explains like, oh, you're actually, working for me and like we planned this whole thing. You planned for him to have a tracker that he was going to remove. Like, I don't understand that. Like, why would they even do anything with that? That makes no sense to me.
Yeah. Well, it's just...
Yeah.
So, yeah, he talks to himself, and he's basically like, we've got a lot of dirt in our head that we can use against Cohagen.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're going to need to figure it out yourself, though. And then...
Yeah.
Oh, before we even say... We mentioned the tracker. The tracker was mentioned to us by the guy that does the futuristic Zoom call into the hotel. He's like, wrap a wet towel around your head to confuse the tracker, and they're tracking him the entire time, and they have the display, and he's just this little red dot in this like 3D environment. But yeah, so yeah, the tracker, he takes it out in the most horrific way too. Ugh.
Yeah.
You can see it like coming out of his nose, and it's like fucking with the shape of his nose because it's like larger than his like entire nose.
Yeah, it's like, how did they put it in there to begin with?
Right.
But yeah, so
he feeds it to... He puts the tracker around some meat and feeds it to a rat, and then the men come in, and they're like, "Oh, where is he?" And then they're following the tracker, and they're shooting everywhere, and they're just shooting at the rat scurrying around, and then after they fucking like fire like 4 times, they realize what's going on. I forget the balding dude. I forget his name.
I don't even remember his name, but yeah, he finally just shoots the rat.
Mm-hmm. And the message Arnold left for himself, he smashed, but conveniently, the message repeats, saying that he needs to go back to Mars, so they now know where he's going as well. And so he escapes and takes a shuttle to Mars, because we see an advertisement about it too as well in the when he's in the subway.
Yeah. And tell us about his disguise that he... Keep in mind, his Hauser didn't tell him to do this. And it's not in the briefcase, so this was his own plan.
Well, what's weird is they even mentioned that this disguise was part of the plan later on, which is really fucking weird. I'm like, why? Like, a lot of it doesn't add up, but it's a movie, so it's fucking... The plot's all like weird. But so he is dressed up as a middle-aged woman, maybe even older, with just like this weird ass getup, like you would see with an older woman, and she goes to the security, the guy at the front, and he's like, "How long are you going to be staying?" or where, whatever. And she goes, 2 weeks. And then he types it in, asks her another question. "Do you have any fruits or vegetables you're bringing on?" 2 weeks. He goes, he's weirded out. And then she starts to glitch out, and everyone's freaking out. Balding bad guy, I forget his name, and his men are conveniently walking by. He catches a glimpse of it happening. He's a little weirded out, but he continues onward. Then the woman disguise starts making random noises and freaking out. He gets his attention. They go over and they see it's Quaid dressed up as an old woman for some reason. And it's not even really a good one either, because it's like, how did you expect to just have like one set thing to say when you're going through security? But whatever. And so then they pursue. It's your turn.
All right, yeah. So,
oh yeah, the mask glitches, but he puts back in the thing, something that powers it, I guess, and throws it. There, I'll let you have that. You can say the fun stuff.
And the mask is like also like an explosive, which like what store is making this?
Honestly,
Why?
yeah.
I don't know. In the future, probably still Walmart.
Honestly, for all your espionage needs, go to Walmart.
Yeah. Yeah, they had to do something after they probably lost a lot of business. And, well, conveniently, this time, in this, like, era that we're currently in. This was probably set. Actually, that's a good question. Let me Google this. Nah, I'm gonna look a little weird because I dropped my controllers, but I wanna. When is the original Total Recall set? 2084. Okay. Yeah, that tracks, I guess. Yeah, Walmart, like in our current age, is like still doing quite well for itself, but it's like I feel like they're gonna lose a lot of business in the coming years because they're so cheap. Like they sell literal garbage all the time, and eventually, go ahead.
Continue. No, continue. Eventually.
Yeah. So I could see in like 20, 30 years, this Walmart just ends up being like Kmart, like how Kmart is like. I don't know if Kmart completely shut down, but they have shut down a lot of locations because well, they were just too expensive, I think, and I feel like Walmart's gonna end up being next, which I honestly don't care. It's like their service is so ass. I don't even mind.
Yeah. It's either that or they seize the government.
Ugh. God, no.
Like we get like a Walmart representative from the Walmart party running America.
Oh, no. Please, no.
And then we just have like Walmart brand everything, like water, fucking like air, and like our clothes have these big Walmart signs on them
Oh, no.
that you have to
No,
pay
no.
to keep on.
No.
And the entire time they blip out, "Welcome to Walmart, brought to you by Walmart." And it's just like on a loop.
Oh, no. We should make this movie.
Yes. Walmart
Oh,
takes over the world.
Walmargeddon.
Oh yes, horrible, perfect. So we were talking about the old lady explosion.
Yeah. So yeah. After that, he goes to like a hotel or something. Gets a note to like go to the last resort, which is like a bar slash really small shitty nightclub. And he's like, I don't know. He figures like maybe I'll get some answers there. He meets the um girl Melina, which is like the one he designed at Recall. Um, she doesn't believe his amnesia story and just doesn't like go away. Um, I guess he goes back to his hotel room or whatever, and I forgot what the doctor's name was, but he's told a doctor from Recall has been planted himself into his mind to try to like snap him out of it. And he's like, you had a I forget something something, and you're undergoing psychosis and whatever. You're losing your mind, and I'm here to try to snap you out of it. And then he's like, look, I even brought your wife, and she comes in. They already throwing this because like he's acting completely normal, and then she comes in and she's like walking robotically and like it's like at least you two should have talked this out in advance to like have a matching theme to the way you behave. Um, but what I never noticed this before is to try to he talks to him and like tries to get him convinced that like you're just in your head, but we can get you out of here. And he like offers him a red pill to like symbolize like him accepting that he needs to wake up. which this is 9 years before the Matrix, and that's the same thing they did in that. Is like red pill, blue pill. Which one are you gonna take? So that was interesting. I wonder if they actually took that, the Wachowskis, I mean, and referenced that when they made the Matrix. Highly possible. Or maybe this is just it was a recurring theme in like 80s movies that I haven't seen before. Either way, very cool. But Matrix for sure did like popularize it big time.
Yeah.
And just as he's about to get him to take the pill, there's a drop of sweat that comes down the doctor's face, and this tips Quaid off to like he's bullshitting, because like why would his like basically like his mental implants, you know, like a mental hologram, if you will, be just randomly sweating as he's holding a gun to his face. So he blows him away. A whole fight ensues with a bunch of guards, and then Melina shows up somewhere, and he
moitas some people.
Yeah. He eventually has his gun on Lori, and she's like, "Oh, you know, don't do that," and he just shoots her anyway, and says, "I think this is the first Arnold one-liner in the movie. Consider this a divorce." Fucking gets me every time. All of his stupid lines get me every time, but I love that.
He does one before with the driver, the robot driver. Sue me, asshole, or something like that. When the driver asks for money, the robot driver, and then it drives off and explodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does a couple of some very classic Schwarzenegger one-liners.
Yeah. So next, Doug and Melina split. They go back to Last Resort. I forgot to mention Benny, the cab driver that's with them.
He's got 5 kids.
Yeah, he's got 5 kids to feed. He only says this like 8 times in like the 40 minutes that he's in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they get back there. Some guards show up. Some soldiers show up. They escape just barely, and Cohagen orders like everyone get out, and he shuts off the air to everyone there to kind of punish them, I guess, for assisting them. Also, just because he's a dick.
Mm-hmm.
So Doug finally then meets this, I didn't mention it yet, but Quato. He's like the leader of the rebels and whatever. He's this guy that mutated and grew out of this other guy's stomach, or I don't know how the hell that works. It's really weird.
Yes.
He meets with him to try to get his memories back, but some soldiers show up and they kill him because he apparently is a high-level threat, and he's the entire reason that this whole thing has been set up, as they meet afterwards.
Yes.
Cohagen. I forgot to mention, Benny is the one that shows up and actually kills Quato, revealing that he's a double agent all along.
And doesn't have 5 kids.
Yeah, only 4. And actually, that was a lie too.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I did like is how he has a certain way he talks up until this point, and as soon as like he's killed Quato, he just switches to a completely different voice, his normal voice, I guess. And yeah, he goes from sounding like
a stereotype.
Yeah, I was gonna say like a space redneck, but not quite. Because I don't know, that doesn't. You get what I mean, but yeah,
I do.
And yeah, then he just like talks in like a normal, I don't know, monotone villain voice, I guess.
Yeah. We also kind of have to mention a little bit, because we just mentioned mutants for the first time. I just realized mutants are people that were exposed to the rays of Mars or whatever due to Cohagen's really shitty infrastructure that he sells to the people of Mars.
Yeah.
And they've got like all kinds of things going on. Like we were talking about with Kato, he's like a baby inside of a man's stomach, and then Benny himself actually is a mutant. He has this like claw arm thing that he reveals because when they're escaping, and Benny is there, and he to prove that he's not one of Cohagen's men, he takes off his false arm and reveals his lobster claw.
Yeah. I thought it was more of like a praying mantis arm kind of. It looks more like insect like, but I mean a lobster is basically just a big ocean insect, so same difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, at this point, Cohagen explains like a lot of the bullshit. The soldiers this entire time had no idea about this whole plan, which I think is something that points to it being all a dream, because why would you do that? Like, why would, like, if he explained, like, I had, they were all using, sometimes maybe they were using blanks, or they were under orders specifically to shoot at you, but never to actually hit you, and stuff like that. Then it would have made more sense. But to, like, not have anybody know about the plan seems stupid, because if they killed him, they would never have gotten to Quado to begin with, which is like, I don't know, it's so convoluted. It's just dumb.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because it's like the balding dude kind of goes rogue at some point and just ends up trying to kill Quaid regardless of orders.
Yeah.
So it's like the Cohagen's just an idiot.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, man. So then he attempts to have him brainwashed back into being Hauser, and then Melina to how did he put it? He wanted to turn her into like the perfect woman or something, the way every woman should be. It's just really condescending, and you immediately just like, okay, this guy needs to die. He's just a dick in every sense of the word. He's even just a fucking sexist. But his true worst crime hasn't happened yet. When he gives the order, because after Quaid like escapes, and like they escape the whole process, the bald guy goes up to Cohagen and like, hey, he's escaping. Like, what are your orders? And he's like, fuck it, kill him. And then he just kicks over a whole aquarium of goldfish, and that's when I was like, oh, this dude's really bad now.
And then
forget being sexist and causing people to mutate because of shitty weather. He killed all the fish. That's when I really started hating his guts.
Oh yeah, and an interesting shot that I liked though was it focused on the fish suffocating, and then it focused back on the the civilians in the sector that got shut off, suffocating from the lack of oxygen.
Yeah, I was like, kind of a interesting juxtaposition. I do hope that those. I do hope that those fish, they immediately took them and put them back in water. I mean, they're dead now, no matter what. That movie was, God, it was over just about 34 years ago. But still, I hope those goldfish didn't die. I don't know why I care so much about some damn goldfish.
People suffocating to death because of Cohagen? No. Mutations? No. The fish? That's crossed the line, man.
Well, it's more or less. It's more or less a thing of like, all the mutants are they're just actors and makeup and stuff, but it's the fish. Like, the fish could have actually died here, and it was all for. It was all for the movie. I'm gonna research that after. You know what? I'm gonna do it right now.
Yeah, you do that. Were there any fish harmed in the making of Total Recall?
Were any fish harmed in the making of Total Recall? Oh, good. They said no goldfish were harmed. Thank God.
Oh yes, good.
We're good now. We're good. The goldfish were saved. It must have all been stunt doubles.
Yeah, stunt fish.
So, oh shit! I actually scrolled further back. So yeah, then here's another thing that points to it being a dream. So, during the whole chase, Quaid and Melina, they're heading for the air generator underground, and they get to a spot and like, oh, there's a wall, and conveniently, Benny is sitting in a machine behind them, like a big boring machine. It's like, okay, how did he know that they were going to be there? Specifically that spot. And he just like went to that machine in advance and just like, I'm just going to sit here and wait in case they show up. It's so stupid. Like that's where it really starts where it starts to crack through. Like, yeah, this has got to be just his memories. Like this is all part of it. It's been a debate for the longest time.
Yeah, which is actually kind of a good. What?
Yeah. Sorry, I was just trying to get my breath back. Whereas, like some people think it's a dream, some people think it wasn't. Yeah, it's kind of up to. I think they never gave us a straight answer. It's just kind of whatever you think is what happened.
Mm.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like it's a. I think that also adds a little extra layer of enjoyment to it because you can discuss that. I'm sure that some of it's also because of like writing problems, but we can put that aside because it's like the discussion of the possibility of it being real or not is interesting. Because they never really mentioned that if the memories that got implanted into you were something that you experienced right away or something that were in your mind that you could just simply recall.
Yeah. I would assume it's like what really would normally happen is, at least from the outside perspective, is they put him in the machine. He goes, he's probably out for a couple hours, and then you wake up, and you just simply feel like you've experienced the 2 weeks. I don't think you would sit there for 2 weeks in real time because that would be kind of a, say like everything was real, like Laurie's his actual wife and everything. It would be a little weird if that took 2 weeks real time because it's like he didn't like call home and say like, hey, I'm gonna be at a medical facility for 2 weeks getting fake memories. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Like she would have been wondering where the fuck he went.
Oh, meaning all at once, like the memories come flooding in and playing like almost like a movie because we only got to see like an hour worth of this movie, so it's like we could say that was the dream for all we know, or some shit.
Yeah, you could say that was like the 2 weeks. Like it, just took so long. Yeah, let's see. So yeah, Benny comes at them with a machine. Doug picks up like a little drill. He's trying to drill through the hydraulic system or something. Eventually does. Then he gets around to the side and just drills a hole through it and right through Benny, and then just says, "Screw you." It's like that was great.
And now we're getting up to the first things first, I want to mention is another thing about the 80s is they sometimes say the title of their movie in the movie, like when Quaid's like kind of catching on and they're like he's gonna experience total recall in about an hour.
Yeah, I missed that, but yeah, it was kind of nice when they did that. At least if they could make it make sense. Or whatever.
I just it was just funny because it's like that's something that I noticed that those old movies tend to do too. Is they just like to say the title of their movie.
Yeah, but it feels incredibly forced and funny. Whereas like for instance, like in Inception, whenever they say like, "Oh, we need to perform Inception," or someone did Inception on this person, it just kind of flows because it's just uh, a descriptor for doing something. You know, throughout the movie, it's not like just one time in the movie that Leonardo DiCaprio suddenly just says, "We got to do Inception," and it just immediately just makes everyone laugh. It works better when it's written better. But yeah, in these old 80s movies, they just kind of like, we got to say the name of the movie somehow. But yeah, it ends up being funny, and I like that. I got my big jug with me today.
Got your what now?
Big jug. It's a 1 gallon jug I got like a year ago. I use it exclusively for Gatorade.
You drink that much Gatorade?
Not all at once. Like, it keeps stuff cold for if you put ice in it. That is, it can keep it cold for up to 5 days. So I just like sip on it when I want to. I just don't need to refill it constantly.
So it's kind of like a gigantic thermos.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty cool.
It can keep something hot for like a day or two, but I don't have a need for that much of some hot liquid. I got 2 smaller ones. One is just for water, and the other one I'm probably going to use for like juices and or milk. So like if I go out to get like a McDonald's breakfast, I can load it up with milk or something, or orange juice or something like that.
Good shit. We should see if they can sponsor us.
The people who make the jugs are McDonald's.
Why not both?
There you go. Maybe one day.
This video has been sponsored by Heroicus' huge jugs.
Yeah. Yeah, I got them right here. All right, so then we end up at the final shootout. I didn't mention this earlier, but one of the things he got in the briefcase was this little watch that can project a hologram, and like I guess you can set it to wherever you want it. And this comes into use here. He sets one up and he walks it into the midst of a group of these soldiers that are coming after him. And he's surrounded on both sides, and they all just stupidly point their guns and open fire. But for some reason, they manage to not hit any of themselves. And it's like, man, the stormtroopers would be proud of these guys. But funny enough, he gives the watch to Melina, and like she walks between just 2 soldiers, and they manage to shoot each other. And I'm like, how did the group of 10 guys not manage to kill all of themselves at that point? I don't understand that.
And also, these are damn good holograms.
Oh yeah. This must be the complete evolution of deepfake technology. By that point, it's able to completely replicate exactly what you're doing.
Even the shit you're holding in your hands.
Yeah, exactly. Everything.
Which is nuts.
And it's literally just a watch you put on, and somehow that watch is able to see your entire body. It makes no sense, but you gotta love it. So yeah, then Quaid manages to get down to this. It's underground. It's this little cylindrical table. There's a alien like handprint in the center of it. Quaid like gets ready to go activate it, and Cohagen comes in, and again, this is the stupid bit. He's like, "Oh, if you activate this, it's gonna activate all the beryllium or whatever the fuck the weird material they're mining for is, and it's gonna cause a chain reaction that'll just cause the whole planet to go into meltdown." And it's like, so you're telling me these aliens, they built a planet-destroying bomb on their own planet for no reason? That makes no sense. At least come up with a convincing lie. Like it'll release some other, it'll release a gas that it'll erode all structures and then everyone will die. At least maybe that would have made a better sense. I don't know. But yeah, he's just like, Quaid doesn't buy it. There's a fight. Melina takes care of him, and then he activates the thing. But in their fighting, I guess they shot something open, and they all get sucked outside. First is Cohagen. He goes out. He has his eye-opening experience, and he
Fuck
dies.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's the first thing that came to my head.
Oh, damn.
The effects of his were really gnarly too, because like we got to see the like different angles of it. Where when we saw Arnold, we didn't really get to see like that many shots of it. But with Cohagen, we got to see it from one side, we got to see it from the other, we got to see it from the top, we got to see it from the side.
Yeah. Yeah. So he dies, and then the process starts going off, and I guess it's like melting ice or something, and that releases oxygen. Just don't question it. Nothing makes sense in these movies.
Mm-hmm.
But then Doug and Melina are also sucked out, and they start going through it until finally the process like goes off enough and releases enough oxygen that everything just calms down. And then everything's done. The hero saved the day. He's got the girl, and then he's just like, maybe this is all a dream. And she just says, "Well, you better kiss me before you find out." And then roll credits. It's over.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, with the evidence presented, I do think it's actually just a dream.
I think it's a movie.
I mean, you're not wrong.
No, it's I actually don't know. A part of me thinks it's a dream, but also a lot of it seems kind of like, I wouldn't say bad writing, but like not writing where it didn't really think of all the stuff, because there's like plot inconsistencies that you can drum up as a dream, which in a fun way you can say that. It's like, this is a dream or something, but it's like, it could be really either. It could be just like some writing things, or it really could be the writer going like, hey, this might be a dream.
Yeah.
Either way, I enjoyed it. I think it was like, I enjoyed it way more than I thought I was going to, because I thought it was just going to be like shitty, but they explored a lot of interesting science concepts, like with the phones and the all the gadgets, and like just it was fun. It was a fun movie.
Yeah. Nice. That was beautiful. I'm not cutting that. That's staying in the episode.
Good. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, I can still see it both ways. It could be a dream. It could also be like there's stuff that points to it being both ways, and I like that. And the fact that they never as far as I know, never explicitly answered either way. It's just a fun little mystery that you get to enjoy, like, and have a little debate with people about, like, was it this or was it that?
Mm-hmm. I'm really glad I got to see this, because this is a movie I've been meaning to watch for a really long time.
Yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed it. This was a fun episode.
Yes. And we're definitely going to be doing more of this VR stuff, because that's fun as well.
Yeah. I think with this being the second thing, I think we can officially call ourselves VTubers now. We don't have official models. I mean, I have the one I used in the She's episode with the black hair. It's called a Rindo model. It's like a little anime girl. I have one I'm working on, which there's another video I just uploaded earlier today. is from a streamer I watch, Fillion, and she wanted to do review bathrooms, and I made a video and then I played it in VR chat. This is red-haired model I have. It's kind of a weird process getting the thing set up. I've got everything there. It's just I can't get it to do expressions yet. But I gotta find the right video to figure out how to set that up. But yeah, then I'll have my own custom-ish model. But I still probably won't use that for everything. Like, sometimes I like to be something of full height. Or, taller. Because that thing is short as hell. Also, like, a model like this has something called Go-Go Loco, which allows me to sit down. Venom is kind of just like default VR chat squatting animations, which, because he's on PC and I'm in actual VR, I can't do that unless I'm physically squat down, like clearly. So I'm going to switch. I got to switch to stand mode. Now I'm physically standing up. If I sit down, it does that. If I want to go further, I have to actually get out of my seat and sit on the ground. And then it does that. But I don't like doing that. I prefer to sit in my chair. Whoops, I dropped something. And I don't know. I can't see what it is. Oh, well, I'll find it after. But yeah, good time.
Good time.
Yeah, special thanks to Arnold Schwarzenegger for adding air to Mars so we could do this episode.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And, yeah, I am now... Where is it? Got a model I'm going to use to leave here. Bear with me. Now it should be in this folder. Oh, shit, I'm not in frame. Give me a second. There we go. All right. Whoops. Wrong thing. This is a disaster. Anyway. To infinity and beyond, I guess.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Next episode will be something.
Indeed.
Okay, let's get the fuck out of here.
I can't actually fly, unfortunately.
Damn.
I just look stupid. Also, I tried to fix this earlier because I wanted to use this initially, but I can't. I think it's definitely my, if I squat down like this, it fixes the feet from looking weird. It's just my... Okay, I know this is going on, this is not even on topic anymore, but it's something in VR, it gives you a little barrier for safety, so if I walk out of it, it's, for some reason right now, I guess the lights, it's not lowering directly to the floor, so if I stand up straight, you can see the heels are like, it's like I'm standing on my toes for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah. See ya, I guess.
Bye.
Yeah, he's dead now. I'll finish the job.
The air stopped being breathable.
Oh, really?
On Mars. Yeah.